imagine you're running a marathon. Your lungs are just burning, your legs feel like lead, but you finally see the finish line.
Oh, that absolute just bone-deep exhaustion.
Right. So you push through the exhaustion, you cross the tape, you basically collapse in absolute relief. And then a judge walks up, hands you a massive laundry basket, pings your phone with 3 urgent work emails, and tells you, there's actually another 10 miles to go.
Which is just a terrifying image, honestly.
It really is. But I mean, welcome to what most of us casually call adulting. But today we are doing a deep dive into some truly fascinating material to look at how we can actually stop running this race that just never ends.
Yeah, because we really do treat that marathon scenario like it's just normal life.
Exactly. So we're diving into a piece by Tony Pretorius. It's called From Surviving to Thriving, The Mindset Shift That Changes Everything. And this is actually part of a larger 20-part series called She Rises, Stress Less, Shine More.
And that opening scenario you just gave captures the quiet desperation of modern life so perfectly. I mean, we have completely confused the baseline responsibilities of being an adult with just frantically keeping our heads above water.
Yeah, it's like we treat exhaustion as a mandatory tax. Like we have to pay it just to exist.
We really do. We wear our burnout like this weird badge of honor, competing with each other over who got the least amount of sleep or who is juggling the most impossible schedule this week.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because that distinction between just managing your life and actually drowning in it, it's incredibly insidious.
Oh, absolutely. It sneaks up on you.
Right. Because you think you're just being responsible. You look at your day and tell yourself, well, I didn't drop the ball in my career. The house hasn't burned down. Everybody ate dinner, so I'm winning.
But you're not winning. Your brain is actually getting trapped in this relentless biological cycle.
Exactly. So to figure out how to actually thrive, we have to look under the hood at the mechanics of this invisible trap. Like, what is actually holding us back?
Well, we really have to look at the biology of the survival trap. When the source material talks about survival mode, it's not just, using a clever metaphor.
Right, it's a physical thing.
It's a very real physiological state. Your brain is basically locked in a constant low-grade fight or flight response. Because biologically, the human nervous system is this incredible piece of ancient technology.
That's very ancient.
Extremely ancient. I mean, it evolved to protect us from literal, immediate physical threats. If a predator steps out of the brush, your amygdala, which is like the alarm bell in your brain, it just sounds the alarm.
So your body just floods with cortisol and adrenaline.
Exactly. Your heart rate spikes, your digestion literally shuts down to conserve energy, and you get this massive, immediate surge of power to either fight for your life or run away.
But I mean, the threat environment has completely changed today. Our brains are walking around with software designed for the Pleistocene era, but we're living in the digital age.
Yeah, and the amygdala, it cannot tell the difference between a saber-toothed tiger and a 9 p.m. Slack message from your boss.
Wow, wait, really? It processes them the same way?
The exact same mechanism. It processes the overflowing laundry bin, the heavy weight of societal expectations, your mortgage payment, the pinging smartphone, all of it is treated as an existential threat.
So instead of a massive spike of cortisol that, resolves once you escape the tiger, what's happening to us?
We are getting this slow, constant, toxic drip of stress hormones all day, every day. There's no release.
It's like, okay, think about optimizing a smartphone battery. If you have 50 apps running in the background, like email, social media, news alerts, calendar stuff, your battery is going to be dead by 2 p.m.
Even if the screen is off.
Exactly. Even if you aren't actively using it, your system resources are just being drained by the sheer volume of background processing. And you feel a biological tax in your behavior.
Oh, you feel it everywhere. When you're in that elevated reactive state, you have basically zero emotional shock absorbers left.
It's like when you snap at someone over nothing.
Yes. You snap at your partner over a misplaced set of keys. And it's not because the keys actually matter, but because your nervous system is convinced you are in imminent danger. Any friction is a threat.
Wow, yeah. And then you start viewing basic, fundamental maintenance like taking 5 minutes to just sit and drink a cup of coffee as this unearned luxury.
Because survival mode tricks your brain into believing that you have to work harder and sacrifice more just to be worthy of powering down for a single second.
Which just strips all the color away from your life. The text actually brings in this beautiful quote from Maya Angelou that creates this stark contrast to the biological panic we're talking about.
Oh, I love this part.
Yeah, she said, "My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style."
And that quote acts as the ultimate diagnostic tool, I think. Because passion, humor, style, these are higher order human experiences.
They take extra juice.
Right. They require surplus energy. When your brain is chemically convinced that it's fighting for its life against a Tuesday to-do list, it literally cuts off funding to the parts of your personality that generate humor or creativity.
Because survival is just mechanical. It's totally robotic.
Exactly. You're just a machine getting through the day.
But I mean, changing your mindset from a mechanical victim to a thriving architect, it sounds great on paper. But then you're staring down a sink full of dirty dishes at 10 p.m.
And they don't wash themselves.
Right. The water doesn't magically drain. The emails don't answer themselves just because you decided to have, like, a better attitude. So how does this transition actually happen in real life?
Well, the source reveals something entirely counterintuitive here. The very first stroke of getting out of this trap isn't some massive life overhaul.
So I don't have to quit my job and move to the woods?
No, thankfully, you don't run away. The shift happens at the microscopic level of your internal linguistics. It's a deliberate rewiring of how you frame your reality.
Okay, what does that look like?
It's moving from the language of subjugation, which is saying I have to the language of autonomy, which is I choose to.
Oh, wow. Think about the psychological weight of the phrase, I have to do the dishes, I have to finish this report, I have to pick up the kids.
It's heavy.
It really is. When you frame your entire day that way, you're casting yourself as this helpless prisoner in your own life. Every task feels like a mandate handed down by an invisible warden.
And you are stripping yourself of all agency, which, as we talked about, just feeds right back into that biological stress loop. You feel trapped.
So what does this all mean when we change the words?
When you tweak that language, you fundamentally alter how your brain processes the task. Instead of, I have to do the dishes, you actively tell yourself, I choose to do these dishes because I love coming home to a clean kitchen.
That's a huge shift.
It is. Instead of, I have to finish this report, it becomes, I choose to finish this report because I value my career and the financial stability it provides my family.
So the dishes are still dirty, the report is still due.
Exactly. The external reality hasn't changed one single bit. But your biological relationship to the pressure has completely transformed. You are reminding your brain that you are a sovereign individual making active choices.
It's basically like flipping a smartphone camera from selfie mode to director mode.
Oh, like that analogy.
Yeah, like in selfie mode, life is just happening to you in the background. You're just in the frame, reacting with this stunned look on your face to whatever chaos is going on behind you.
You're just part of the wreckage.
Exactly. But when you switch to director mode, you step behind the camera. You're actively framing the shot. You decide what stays in focus and what gets blurred out. You aren't just a victim of circumstance anymore. You're the architect of the scene.
But stepping behind the camera brings a whole new set of problems, because suddenly you are entirely responsible for what goes into the frame.
Right, you have to choose.
And our modern instinct is to try and shove absolutely everything into the shot.
Yeah.
We want to direct a high-octane action movie, a sweeping romance, and a meticulous documentary all at the exact same time.
Which sounds exhausting.
It is. Pretorius labels this our personal shiny object syndrome.
Now, we usually hear that term in business, right? Like chasing the newest software or the latest marketing trend instead of sticking to your core strategy. How is the text applying this to our personal psychology?
It's this deeply ingrained desire to bloom everywhere, all at once. It's the exhausting compulsion to be the absolute best employee, the most attentive parent, the most supportive friend, the community volunteer, and, the most physically fit individual, all in the exact same week.
Oh, man, yeah. We chase all these shiny identities simultaneously because society just loudly tells us we can and should have it all.
But the source material drops a very stark mechanism for why this fails. It says, focus is the nutrient that allows us to grow.
Meaning, if you try to spread that nutrient across 50 different plants, nothing actually thrives.
Right, everything just survives on bare minimum rations.
You just end up with a garden full of dying plants.
Exactly. Thriving requires a brutal auditing of your energy. It means identifying your absolute core values and actively choosing to let other things fall into the background. It's the conscious choice of quality over sheer frantic quantity.
Wait, choose to let things fail, because I kind of have to push back on this a little bit.
Okay, let's hear it.
The text explicitly says that to thrive, you must be willing to disappoint people who expect you to be everything to everyone. But for the listener who naturally wants to be reliable, who wants to be kind and helpful, that sounds like a recipe for a massive guilt trip.
It does feel bad at first, yeah.
Like if I intentionally drop the ball on a community project or I say no to helping a family member just so I can go, thrive on my own, I'm just shifting my stress onto someone else's plate. Isn't that inherently selfish?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, we really have to confront the uncomfortable reality of our own limitations. Pretorius argues that this guilt you're describing, it's simply the price of admission for a life that feels authentic.
The price of admission.
Yeah. You cannot build a sustainable, thriving life on a foundation of your own exhaustion. If you are constantly draining your own battery to zero just to prevent someone else from feeling a fleeting moment of disappointment, you're choosing their temporary comfort over your long-term survival.
Basically, you're setting yourself on fire to keep other people warm.
That's exactly it. And eventually you just run out of fuel. Narrowing your focus and accepting that you will disappoint some people isn't a malicious act of selfishness. It's a structural biological requirement.
Because you literally can't do it all.
Right. It is the only way you will ever have the actual physical energy to show up fully and brilliantly for the few things that truly matter to you. If you don't choose what to prioritize, your exhaustion will choose for you.
And it usually chooses to drop the most important balls first, like your health or your closest relationship.
Almost always.
So by narrowing that focus, by stripping away the 80 things we're trying to do adequately, we finally clear enough mental RAM to actually exist in the present moment.
Yes, the present moment.
Because the source material is adamant that the present moment is the absolute only place where thriving can actually occur.
It is. Because survival mode is intrinsically time displaced. It absolutely despises the present moment.
Wait, what do you mean time displaced?
Well, when you are operating in that fight or flight state, your brain is like a time machine stuck on two settings.
Yeah.
It is either catapulting you into the future, obsessing over hypothetical threats like, what if the economy crashes? What if I bomb this presentation?
Oh, I know that one well.
Right. Or it's dragging you backward into the past to just ruminate on perceived mistakes. Why did I say that stupid thing in the meeting? Why didn't I handle that argument better?
So you were never just here.
Never. Thriving requires a deliberate muscular grounding in the present tense. It forces you to notice the physical data of the current second.
Like what?
Like the actual taste of your coffee, the temperature of the air on your skin, the rhythm of your breathing. Because when you force your amygdala to process the immediate physical present, it looks around and realizes there's no tiger in the room. In this exact fraction of a second, you are safe. You have enough. You are enough.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because the text anchors this idea of the present moment with a quote from Viktor Frankl.
Such a powerful addition to the text.
It really is. And for the listener who might not be familiar, Viktor Frankl was a neurologist, a psychiatrist, and a Holocaust survivor. He wrote Man's Search for Meaning. So when Frankl discusses the psychological mechanics of survival and human agency, he is speaking from the absolute darkest, most extreme depths of human suffering imaginable.
His insight isn't just some motivational poster. It was forged in fire.
Exactly. And the quote Pretorius uses is, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom.
It is arguably one of the most profound observations on human psychology ever recorded. And Pretorius uses it to define what thriving actually looks like in practice. Well, thriving is the literal act of finding and living within that space, Frankl describes.
Right.
It's the conscious widening of the gap between the moment a demand is placed on you, which is the stimulus, and the moment you react to it.
It totally makes me think of a chaotic, overwhelming video game.
Oh, how do you mean?
You know those moments where enemies are swarming from all sides of the screen, the music is frantic, the health bar is flashing red, and you are just button mashing.
Oh yeah, panic mode.
Right. You have zero strategy. You aren't aiming. You're just frantically slamming buttons in a blind panic so you don't die. That is survival mode in daily life.
Just wildly reacting to whatever is directly in front of your face.
Exactly. Thriving is the act of hitting the pause button. The chaos is still on the screen, right? The enemies are still swarming. But you've suspended the action. You exist in that paused space.
You give yourself a second.
Yeah, you take a breath, you scan the board, you look at your inventory, and you consciously decide what your next move will be. You stop button mashing, and you start actually playing the game.
And finding that pause button is the ultimate challenge here. Because conceptually, the Frankl space makes perfect sense. But how does a person whose brain is just marinating in stress hormones actually practice finding that space on, like, a random Tuesday afternoon?
Right, because you can't actually freeze time. The emails just keep coming.
You can't freeze time, no. But you can physically force your nervous system to reboot. Pretorius offers a very rigid, concrete starting point.
Okay, what's the starting point?
You don't need to book a flight to a wellness retreat, and you do not need to overhaul your entire personality. You start by giving yourself permission to stop, just for today. The exact directive is to set a timer for 10 minutes and do absolutely nothing.
Do absolutely nothing, which sounds incredibly simple, but for someone locked in survival mode, it is agonizing.
It will feel like psychological torture the first few times you try it. The instructions are absolute, though. No phone, no podcasts playing in the background, no reading, no suddenly deciding to reorganize the junk drawer just because you happen to be standing near it. You just sit.
Oh man, your brain will rebel. If you try this, your hands will twitch. You'll feel phantom vibrations in your pocket.
Oh, definitely.
Your mind will scream at you about how unproductive you're being, and it'll run through a laundry list of everything you should be doing with these 10 minutes.
And that happens because your brain is terrified of the stillness. Stillness feels like vulnerability to a nervous system that is expecting a tiger attack.
Right. It thinks you're letting your guard down.
Exactly. But the goal of those 10 minutes isn't to achieve some monk-like state of enlightenment or clear your mind of all thoughts. The goal is purely biological.
It's about the nervous system.
Yes, it is a physical demonstration to your body that it is safe. By refusing to react, by just listening to your heartbeat and letting the anxiety peak and then slowly recede, you are manually powering down the fight or flight response. You are reclaiming your energy just by refusing to spend it.
You're basically looking the imaginary tiger in the eye and yawning.
Precisely.
And that actually brings a direct challenge from this material straight to you, the listener. What is one thing that you have been doing just to survive lately that you are finally ready to drop? Where can you find your 10 minutes today?
It's a vital question.
It is. What is one heavy, exhausting I have to that you are going to rewrite into an I choose to before you go to sleep tonight?
Keeping the focus on these microscopic shifts is so important because the source material brings it all together with this crucial reality check. Thriving is not a finish line.
You don't just arrive there and you're done.
No, you don't cross the threshold, receive a diploma, and just never feel overwhelmed again. Thriving is a daily, sometimes hourly practice. It's a continuous series of tiny, highly intentional choices to widen that space between stimulus and response.
Choosing to honor your own humanity when the world is just screaming at you to be a machine.
Exactly.
It really is a radical rebellion against the way we are conditioned to operate. And it leaves me with a thought I really want you to mull over as you jump back into the chaos of your day.
Let's hear it.
If moving from surviving to thriving is genuinely built on these tiny, everyday micro choices, just changing our vocabulary, sitting still for 10 uncomfortable minutes, choosing to disappoint a few people to protect our core energy, what would happen to our society at large if an entire generation simply refused to participate in the Burnout Olympics anymore?
Wow. It would systematically dismantle the way we structure corporate expectations, the way we judge parenting, and, frankly, the way we value human worth.
How radically would the world change if we all fiercely guarded our pause button? If we all stopped button mashing our way through the week and started actually directing our own lives?
It changes everything.
Because right now, you might feel like you're just running that endless marathon, exhausting yourself just to stay on the track. But the moment you realize you can stop, step off the track, and choose your own direction, you stop fighting the current, and you finally start moving toward a destination of your own making.